Okay, so let's just say the words. Jackson Hole,
Oh.
Wyoming. I mean, for a certain kind of person, just hearing that name,
Yeah.
it conjures up this image, right? It's the holy grail of American skiing.
It is. It's the dream.
Yeah.
It's the place you see in all the movies, all the magazines. It really is the top of the mountain, literally and figuratively.
It's the destination that sits at the top of every single serious skier's bucket list.
And this is the entire reason we're doing this deep dive. If you look at it just from the numbers, from the cold, hard math of it all, Jackson Hole is statistically probably the most financially irresponsible major vacation you can take in the United States.
Wow, okay. That's a bold statement right out of the gate.
Well, with a huge caveat. If, and this is the most important word you'll hear today, if you go in unprepared, if you don't have absolute clarity on what you're paying for and maybe more importantly, what the mountain itself demands of you.
Okay, but let's set the spreadsheets aside for just 1 second because the feeling is a huge part of this. I want you, our listener, to just picture this. You've just taken that famous aerial tram, Big Red, all the way up. It's a 4,139 vertical foot climb, and you're standing at the summit over 10,000 feet up.
10,450 to be exact.
And you look out, and you see the entire Teton Range. It's genuinely a spiritual view. The air is so thin and so cold, it feels like it's snapping inside your lungs.
It's electric up there.
It's the only place in America I've been that really feels like the Alps in terms of scale and just pure drama.
Yeah.
But instead of, charming little European villages, you get this raw, unapologetic, Wild West vibe. It's like the Alps, but with cowboys.
And that's the tension right there. That's the whole Jackson Hole dilemma in a nutshell.
What do you mean?
You have the majesty of the Tetons, which, they're completely indifferent to your vacation plans or your budget. And then you have the reality on the ground.
The $30 burgers.
The $30 burgers, the $40 a day parking, the very, very real possibility that your flight home is going to be canceled for 3 days because the runway is a sheet of ice. The tension between the ideal and the logistical reality, it's palpable.
Absolutely. So that's our mission today. We are doing a deep dive specifically for you to figure this out. We're looking at Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, JHMR, and the huge, intimidating, but amazing backcountry that surrounds it in Teton National Park.
We're breaking down the logistics, the math, the safety protocols, and the stories, the incredible highs and the very, very costly lows.
To answer one fundamental question, is Jackson Hole worth the price of admission for you?
And just to hook you right away, we went through a whole stack of sources for this. Local reporting, avalanche forecasts, travel blogs, financial analysis, and we've distilled it down into 3 kind of contrarian surprises.
Okay, let's hear them.
Nugget number 1 is what we're calling the humility check. You probably aren't a good enough skier to actually enjoy the most famous terrain there.
Ouch.
And we're going to explain why that's actually okay and why accepting that is the key to having a great trip.
All right, what's nugget 2?
The best powder. That deep, untracked snow that Jackson is famous for. It's not actually at the main resort.
Wait, where is it then?
Geographically, it's reliably on the other side of the rock, in Idaho. And we'll tell you exactly how to get there.
Okay, fascinating. And number 3?
That authentic cowboy vibe you're expecting. That rugged, old-school Western grit.
Yeah.
The sources are pretty clear that it's largely manufactured now. It's been engineered for the billionaires that have flooded the valley. The grit is still there, but you have to work really hard to find it.
But I have to say, and you have to agree with this, despite all of that, despite the cost, the logistics, if you hit Jackson Hole on a true bluebird powder day, it will ruin you. It will absolutely ruin every other ski resort on Earth for you.
I cannot argue with that. The quality of the mountain when it is on is a benchmark you will spend the rest of your life trying to get back to.
So I'm here for the feeling, the stories, and the safety protocols you cannot ignore.
And I've got the logistics, the cost breakdowns, and all the planning headaches.
This is the deep dive. Let's get into it, and we have to start by setting expectations. Because the Jackson of today is so drastically different from what it was even 5 years ago.
It really is. And the speed of that change is what's so fascinating. Economists are calling it the Yellowstone effect.
From the TV show.
Partly, yeah. It's a combination of that huge media exposure and, the massive pandemic-driven shift of wealth. People with a lot of money wanted remote, open spaces with high-end amenities, and Jackson was ground zero for that.
It's wild to think about. I mean, this used to be a ski bum town, a place where you had, generations of locals living next to the first wave of millionaires. It had a real, tangible grit to it.
And now, The sources we looked at show the wealth has just escalated to a level nobody could have predicted. We're not talking about millionaires anymore. We're talking about billionaires actively pushing the millionaires out.
Pushing the millionaires out, that's a whole different level.
The cost of living is,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just astronomical, it's genuinely hostile to anyone working a local service job. I saw one report that the median single-family home price in Jackson Hole just soared past $4 million.
And that's not for, like, a slopeside mansion, right? That's the median home.
That's the median. And you feel those ripple effects everywhere. We read about local businesses, community staples, that had to shut down because they literally could not afford to house their own staff. There's nowhere for them to live.
So that expectation of a rugged West town, it's gone. It's been replaced by a reality we started calling Manhattan in moon boots.
It's the perfect description. It really captures that collision of worlds. You go on social media, you go on Instagram, and you see these perfectly curated reels.
Of Corbett's couloir.
Exactly. Of some pro skier dropping into Corbett's, that insane near vertical shoot, and you think, okay, that's the vibe. Or you see a picture of the $1 million Cowboy bar with the saddle bar schools.
And you assume the whole town is like that, quaint and Western.
And that is absolutely a trap.
Yeah.
You have to reset your expectations the second you land. The authenticity isn't just handed to you anymore. If it's there, it's either hard to find or it's been sort of packaged for the high-end consumer. It's a high-traffic, high-cost machine.
Acknowledging that commercial reality is step one.
I do want to push back on the idea that the authenticity is completely gone. Because while the town itself might feel like an outdoor mall for billionaires, the mountain doesn't care.
I completely agree. The mountain is the soul of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And the geology there it's totally unique. It forces you to be humble.
It really does. Unlike, say, the Rockies in Colorado, where you have foothills that kind of gradually lead up to the peaks,
Right.
the Tetons are a fault block range. They just shoot straight up from the valley floor. There are no foothills. It's just bam.
Yeah.
Wall of rock.
And that creates this insane visual drama, these massive vertical faces rising thousands of feet right in front of you. It makes you feel incredibly small.
And that feeling of being small, that has to be your core expectation. Humility. This mountain demands respect, physically, mentally, and logistically.
And technically that humility is mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the terrain itself, because it is steep, it is demanding, and it is unrelenting.
The key statistic you have to internalize is that 50%, one half, of the marked trails at Jackson Hole Mountain Resort are rated expert.
50%. How does that compare to other big resorts?
Most other major resorts in North America, Vail or a Whistler, they hover around 35, maybe 40% expert terrain. 50 is enormous. It's an outlier.
And we should probably define what expert even means in Jackson, because it's not just a steep, groomed run.
No, not at all. A lot of these expert runs, especially on the upper mountain, are deliberately left ungroomed.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with these massive frozen moguls that are the size of small cars. You're dealing with ice with super variable conditions. We're talking about places like the Alta Chutes or the Hobacks, which are just these huge wild bowls.
So you're paying for access to world-class steepness that is often left in its raw, natural state.
Which has immediate financial consequences for the average skier, right?
It's the entire value proposition problem right there. If you're an intermediate skier, someone who loves a good, groomed blue run, maybe you'll try some easy moguls.
You're paying the highest lift ticket price in North America for terrain you literally cannot touch. You can't enjoy it. You can't even safely navigate it.
You are paying a massive premium for a resource you are not using. The value equation for an intermediate skier is immediately negative. You are paying for the reputation and the infrastructure that supports the top 10% of skiers.
And then if your goal is to go beyond the resort, into the national park,
right,
which is super easy to do, you literally just duck under a rope.
Then the expectation has to shift from steep to unmitigated danger.
That's a strong phrase.
It has to be, because it's truly wild. Once you cross that rope, you leave behind the entire safety net you just paid $230 for. No ski patrol, no monitoring, and absolutely zero avalanche control. Let's define that. Avalanche control means they're not using explosives to intentionally trigger small slides to make the snowpack safer.
Exactly. Outside the ropes, the snowpack is just sitting there in its natural, unstable state. You are completely and totally on your own, and you have to have that expectation burned into your brain before you even think about going there.
Okay, so that sets a pretty demanding stage for the mountain. But the fight often starts way before you even click into your skis. Let's talk about the logistical nightmare of just getting there and getting around.
The arrival shock is a real thing.
Yeah.
You fly into J.C. Jackson Hole Airport.
Which is famous for being the only commercial airport in the entire United States that's located completely inside a national park.
Grand Teton National Park. And that arrival it's overwhelming in a good way. You're descending, and the Grand Teton itself is right there outside your window. It's terrifying and beautiful. It is hands down the most stunning airport approach in the world.
But then you land, and that beauty gives way to some very real, very practical problems.
Number one is wind and cold. The wind is a constant issue. It causes flight cancellations all the time. The airport is just really exposed. And if you get any kind of crosswind with a little bit of ice, you're grounded.
Yeah.
Sometimes for days.
And the cold, it's not just chilly mountain air. We're talking bone-shattering cold.
The valley is like a geographical bowl. It traps that frigid air. It's not uncommon to see morning temperatures of negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. That's minus 29 Celsius. If you're not prepared for that kind of exposure, you're going to be miserable from minute one.
Okay, so here's what you flagged as the single biggest logistical mistake people make: the town versus village disconnect.
This is so critical. You have to understand this. They're not the same place.
Right. You have the town of Jackson. That's the historic town with the antler arches, the $1 million Cowboy bar, the art galleries, and the slightly, and I mean slightly, cheaper hotels.
And then, 12 miles away, you have Teton Village. That's the base of the ski resort. That's where the tram is. That's where all the expensive ski and ski out hotels are.
And that 12-mile separation, that's the whole problem.
It leads directly to the commute choke point. The drive itself is beautiful, don't get me wrong. You go right past the National Elk Refuge. You can see thousands of elk wintering there. It's incredible.
But you'll be looking at them through a wall of red brake lights.
Exactly. There's basically one main road, Highway 22 into 390, and it just funnels all the traffic into this one spot. My sources consistently said people lose an hour a day. An hour of their incredibly expensive vacation just sitting in traffic.
That completely defeats the purpose.
It does. But I will say, once you fight through that traffic and you finally get to Teton Village, the energy it's worth it.
It's electric, right? Standing at the base of the tram in the morning, the whole vibe is just serious, focused. It's a very international crowd. You hear French, German, Australian accents everywhere.
And you can see it in what people are wearing. The vibe is what we called athletic wealth.
Right. No fur coats.
No. You see $900 Arctic shells, but they're battered. They're beaten up. Maybe they have some duct tape on a tear. It shows they've been used and used hard, probably in the backcountry. The money is there, but the real status symbol is proficiency.
It 100% feels like a proving ground. Like you have to earn your turns and then you have to earn that beer at the end of the day.
And speaking of earning it, that leads us right to the numbers. Let's move from the feeling to the figures, because we have to be direct here. All the data shows that Jackson Hole is, right now, arguably the most expensive ski destination in North America.
Okay, so let's break it down with our 3 categories for you, the listener: the minimalist traveler, the mid-range enthusiast, and the luxury manager.
Let's start with the budget band, or the minimalist. This is the person who is determined to ski the steeps, but wants to be as frugal as possible.
What's the bottom line number for them?
The absolute minimum daily cost, and this is excluding your flight and your gear, is around $250 a day. And that is only if you make some very serious sacrifices.
Wow, that is tight. How do you even do that in Jackson?
Okay, so accommodation eats up most of it. Your cheapest options are the hostel, right, in Teton Village, or Motel 6, or Super 8, way out in the town of Jackson. You're still looking at $150 to $200 a night minimum.
And that's probably for a shared dorm room at the hostel.
Exactly. And then you have the lift ticket. We mentioned it, but the sticker shock is real. If you don't have an Icon Pass or a Mountain Collective Pass, you walk up to the window, you're paying over $230 for one day of skiing.
So your lift ticket alone can blow that entire $250 budget.
On many days, yes. So for food, the sacrifice is huge. You're at the grocery store, you're eating gas station burritos, maybe some ramen in your room, $30 a day, tops, no restaurants.
But there is one saving grace for this category, right? A critical nugget.
Yes. The transport. The START bus.
The Southern Teton Area Rapid Transit. Why is this so important?
$3 a ride. And crucially, it completely bypasses that commute choke point we talked about. It has its own dedicated lane in some of the worst spots, so it just sails past all the stop traffic. For the minimalist, the START bus is the only way to do it.
Okay, so that sounds tough, but possible. Now let's move up to the mid-range enthusiast. This is, the dentist from Chicago. This is where most serious ski tourists are going to fall.
For this band, your daily burn rate is $700 a person, plus, easily.
700 a day per person.
Accommodation, like a standard hotel in town, maybe the Antler Inn, that's going to be $350 to $500 a night for just a basic room. And that's if you book way in advance.
That's already steep. But it's the on-mountain costs that really get you right.
Food is where the budget just hemorrhages money. We budgeted about $120 a day per person for food, and that assumes you're having a casual lunch and one decent sit-down dinner. But here's the detail that just blew my mind.
The burger.
The $35 burger. $35 for a hamburger and fries at one of the on-mountain lodges, not including a drink. Or, if you want something quicker, a single slice of pizza at the base cafeteria is $9.
$9 for a slice of pizza.
The financial pressure is constant. Even if you have a good budget, you're always feeling it.
And transport. They're probably renting an SUV.
Right. A rental car with four-wheel drive in the winter, that's $100 a day, minimum, plus the $40 a day for resort parking. So you're already well past $700 before you've even bought a beer or your lift ticket.
Okay, and finally, the luxury band. The hedge fund manager. The audience that Jackson is increasingly built for.
Here, the spending just enters a different reality. Accommodation starts at $2,000 a night. Places like the Four Seasons, the Amangani, True Ski In, Ski Out luxury.
And the spending shifts from needs to access.
Exactly. It's all about maximizing efficiency and quality. A private guide is $1,200 a day. You want instant, untracked powder. Heli skiing is $1,800 a day. Dinner for two at the Snake River Grill is $300 before wine. For this person, the cost is almost irrelevant.
So that brings us back to the big question. With this insane cost structure, what is the value equation? Is it ever worth it?
I think we have to be really clear here. The value is only there for the strong, expert skier. Period.
Okay, explain that.
If you are paying for lift-accessed, world-class, steep, demanding terrain, if you're using that tram all day and you're benefiting from that incredibly complex and expensive avalanche control program the resort runs, then yes, the money is buying you something unique that very few places on Earth can offer.
But if you're a beginner, or even a solid intermediate who sticks to the blue runs.
You are, and we said it before, you are paying Ferrari prices to drive a Honda Civic. You are paying for features and access you cannot and should not use. Your money is so much better spent at a dozen other resorts.
And there's one last tricky point on cost. The backcountry cost paradox.
Right. A lot of people, especially in that minimalist band, think, I'll save money, I'll just go ski in the national park. It's free.
Sounds logical. No $200 lift ticket.
But the sources show this is the most expensive free skiing on the planet. The upfront investment in safety gear is non-negotiable. A beacon, shovel, probe, proper touring skis and bindings, skins, and an airbag pack. You're looking at $3,000 minimum before you even start.
Can you just quickly define what a beacon, shovel, and probe are for anyone who doesn't know?
Absolutely. The beacon is an electronic transceiver. If you get buried in an avalanche, it transmits a signal so your partners can find you. The probe is a long, collapsible pole you use to physically pinpoint the person under the snow. And the shovel is for digging them out. You need all three. And you need to know how to use them fast.
And the cost doesn't even stop with the gear.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is the most important piece of gear. So we strongly recommend you hire a guide. A certified guide is $600 to $800 a day. So suddenly your free day of skiing costs you $700 on top of your $3,000 in gear. It's a true paradox.
That lays out the financial reality perfectly. Okay, so we know the cost, we know the terrain, we know the commute is a nightmare. Let's pivot now and get really practical. Let's talk about the specific traps that ruin trips, and more importantly, how to fix them.
Yes. Let's move from the problem to the solution. I've got 3 huge logistical pitfalls that just trip people up constantly, no matter their budget.
All right, let's start with pitfall number 1, the commute decision. This goes right back to that town versus village problem.
This is the classic mistake the mid-range person makes. They book a hotel in the town of Jackson because it looks a little cheaper and the nightlife seems better. They figure, no problem, we'll just drive our rental car to the resort every morning.
And the pitfall is that single road, that bottleneck. Especially on a powder day between 8:30 and 9:30 in the morning, it becomes a total parking lot.
And it gets worse because the paid parking lots at the resort, the ones that cost $40, they fill up. They are completely full by 9 a.m. So you can sit in traffic for 45 minutes, finally get to the resort, and find there's literally nowhere to park your car.
You've just wasted the most expensive hour of your vacation. What's the fix? What's the strategy?
You have two choices, and you have to commit to one. Option A. If you stay in town, you must use the START bus. It's cheap, it's efficient, and it sails past the traffic in its own lane. Option B is simpler. Just pay the premium and stay in Teton Village. If skiing is your priority, the extra cost for lodging is your insurance policy against lost time.
Okay, pitfall number 2. The altitude hangover. This gets everyone.
People really underestimate the physiology of it. The base of the resort is over 6,000 feet. The top is over 10,000. That's a huge change if you're coming from sea level.
And the pitfall is, you arrive, you feel fine, you're excited, you go out to the $1 million Cowboy bar, hop on a saddle bar stool, and have 3 celebratory beers.
And at that altitude, those 3 beers have the effect of 6 or more. The next morning, you wake up with a splitting headache, you're nauseous, and you've just completely wasted your $230 lift ticket because you can't get out of bed.
So what's the strategy to avoid that?
It's simple but non-negotiable. Maximum 1 drink your first night. 1. The real key is hydration. You need to drink a gallon of water a day, not just a few glasses. And prioritize sleep over partying for the first 48 hours. Let your body acclimatize.
Okay, and pitfall number 3, the flight maximizer trap.
This is the person who tries to squeeze every last possible minute of skiing out of their trip. The pitfall is booking the very last flight out on a Sunday night.
Because, as you said, the Jackson Airport is notorious for weather closures.
Exactly. A storm rolls in Sunday afternoon, the airport shuts down, and now you're stranded. You're scrambling for a $400 a night hotel room you didn't budget for, and you're missing work on Monday morning. It's a painful, hidden cost.
So the strategy is?
Be conservative. Book a morning flight out. Or, if you absolutely have to ski that last day, have a real backup plan. The best one is to be prepared to rent a car and drive 5 hours to Salt Lake City. SLC is a major hub, much more reliable, and often the only way out when a big storm hits the region. Exactly. Don't pay to fly the wrong tool across the country. The fix is to rent a good pair of high-performance demo skis from a shop at the base. You'll pay a bit more, but you'll have the right ski for the day's conditions, and it will completely change your experience.
And one final logistical point?
Hmm?
Connectivity. Cell service.
It's surprisingly decent in the town and in the village, but the second you leave those developed areas, the second you head into the backcountry or even just drive over Teton Pass, your signal is gone completely.
The strategy, then, has to be planning ahead.
You have to download offline maps. Use Google Maps, or even better, a backcountry-specific app like OnX. Download the maps for the entire area onto your phone before you leave your hotel's Wi-Fi. Your safety could literally depend on it.
Okay, that covers the practicalities. Now we need to shift gears and get very serious. We have to talk about safety. This is not to scare anyone, but it's about respecting the power of this place.
This is the most critical part of the entire deep dive. The sources are clear. Teton County has very high search and rescue numbers. And that's because this extreme, uncontrolled wilderness is right next door to the resort. It's too easy to get into trouble.
Let's start with risk number 1, the backcountry. This is life and death, and it happens almost every season. You cross a resort boundary gate into an area like Granite Canyon or Cody Bowl,
And you are in a completely different world. As we said, there is no ski patrol, no monitoring, and 0 avalanche control.
And what's the psychological trap people fall into? They look out of bounds and they see beautiful untracked powder.
And they see tracks. They see that someone else has already gone there, and they think, oh, well, it must be safe.
That is a potentially fatal mistake.
It is, because you have no idea who made those tracks. It could have been a professional guide with 20 years of experience and a satellite phone, or it could have been someone who is now lost, or someone who just got incredibly lucky. Following random tracks into the wilderness is a recipe for disaster.
So what is the absolute mandatory protocol for going out of bounds?
There are 5 things, and you need all 5. A working beacon, a shovel, and a probe, a trained partner. And most importantly, the knowledge of how to use it all. You have to know how to read an avalanche forecast. My strongest recommendation is this. If you want to speed the backcountry, hire a guide, even just for one day. The education you get from a pro from a place like X Mountain Guides is priceless.
Okay, risk number 2. This is a very specific one for deep snow areas, tree wells.
A tree well is a hidden void of deep, unconsolidated snow that forms around the base of a tree. The branches of the tree act like an umbrella, and prevent the snow from packing down near the trunk.
And the danger is falling into one head first.
Exactly. If you're skiing in the trees and you fall, you can get trapped upside down in this deep, soft snow. You can't get out and you can suffocate very quickly. It's a silent, terrifying danger.
The protocol has to be absolute then.
Never, ever ski the trees alone. You must maintain visual contact with your partner at all times, not just shouting to them. You need to see them.
Okay, and a technical tip for that.
Always keep your partner in view below you. Ski one at a time from one safe spot to another. If they fall in a well, it's much easier for you to get to them and dig them out if you are uphill from them.
Risk number 3 is the cold itself, frostbite.
The protocol here is just about having the right gear and being vigilant. I'm going to say it. Invest in heated socks. I know they cost $200, but they are worth every single penny. And you have to make sure there is absolutely no exposed skin. A good balaclava is not optional, it's mandatory, especially on the windy chairlifts.
And a final point on just the environmental comfort. The air is so dry.
It is incredibly dry, causes nosebleeds, sore throats, it's just uncomfortable.
The strategy.
A simple one is to bring a small, portable humidifier for your hotel room. If you can't do that, just run a hot shower for 10 minutes before you go to bed and steam up the room. It makes a huge difference in how you sleep and feel the next day. As far as human risk, though, crime is incredibly low. You're very safe in Jackson.
Right. The only thing getting robbed is your wallet at the grocery store.
Right.
The only real scam is just how expensive everything is because it all has to be trucked into this remote valley.
Okay. That covers the hard stuff, the logistics, the safety. Now we get to the fun part, the actual human experience. Let's talk about the peak moments and the biggest disappointments.
I'll start with my peak human experience. For me, it was something that perfectly captures that mix of terror and reward we've been talking about. It's Corbett's waffles.
Ah, yes. The cabin. It's a tree ritual. Describe the scene up there.
So you take the tram all the way to the top, 10,450 feet. And there's this tiny little shack up there, Corbett's cabin. And inside, they make these incredible, hot, fresh waffles.
With the brown sugar butter.
With the brown sugar butter, or Nutella. And you take this simple, perfect, delicious thing, and you stand out on the deck to eat it. And you are standing right at the entrance to Corbett's couloir.
So you're watching people drop in.
You're watching these incredibly skilled, incredibly brave skiers and snowboarders literally jump off a cornice into this terrifyingly narrow chute. And that synthesis of feelings, the terror of watching them, the delicious comfort of the hot waffle in your hand, the howling wind, that, for me, is the peak Jackson Hole experience. It's pure awe.
That's a perfect encapsulation of the mountain's energy. My best moment is about finding that old Jackson vibe we said was disappearing. It's a press ski at the Mangy Moose.
An absolute legend, one of the last holdouts of that gritty charm.
It's right at the base in Teton Village, and it is the great equalizer. There's loud, amazing live music, there are huge pitchers of relatively cheap beer, and they serve nachos that are the size of a car's hubcap.
And it has a very specific smell.
It smells like wet wool and spilled beer. And it's the one place where you will genuinely see a billionaire still in his $900 shell, high-fiving a local ski bum who probably sleeps in his truck, and they're both just stoked about the day they had. It captures that old soul of Jackson perfectly.
Okay, let's talk disappointments. Because it's not all perfect. My low point was the town square shopping.
I can see that. That's where that Manhattan and moon boots vibe is strongest.
It just felt soulless. It's a theme park of luxury, endless, generic, high-end clothing brands, art galleries selling $50,000 bronze statues of bears, and boutiques that all feel exactly the same. I was looking for grit, for history, and I just found a very expensive outdoor mall that felt disconnected from the incredible mountain right behind it.
My low point connects back to the terrain problem we discussed, the terrain bottleneck.
Right, because everyone funnels onto the few blue runs to get down.
Everyone. And the worst offender is a run called Gros Ventre. At 3:30 in the afternoon when the lifts are closing, that run becomes an absolute war zone.
Describe the chaos.
You have beginners who are completely exhausted and out of control, just sliding down sideways. And mixed in with them are frustrated experts who are bombing past them at 50 miles an hour trying to get to the base. It's this chaotic mix of speed and exhaustion, and it's genuinely dangerous and incredibly stressful. It just sucks all the joy out of the end of your day.
That really highlights the core conflict, doesn't it? You get this world-class, uncrowded terrain at the top, but the infrastructure can't handle the crowds on the way down. You're paying a premium for solitude up high and getting congestion down low.
Exactly. And if all of that, the cost, the crowds, the intensity sounds like too much, we need to give you some smart alternatives.
Yeah.
The Jackson experience isn't for everyone.
Let's start with alternative number 1, Grand Targhee, the counterculture choice.
So Targhee is on the other side of the Teton Range. It's technically in Wyoming, but you access it through Driggs, Idaho. It is the geographic and cultural opposite of Jackson.
So why would a serious skier go there instead?
It has some huge upsides. First, because of its location on the western, wetter side of the mountains, it statistically gets more snow than Jackson Hole. Often. A lot more.
More snow. Okay.
And the whole vibe is different. It's wider, the terrain is more forgiving, it's way friendlier, and it's significantly cheaper across the board lodging, food, tickets. It has a real, unpretentious 1990s ski vibe. For a pure powder hound who hates crowds, it's arguably better.
What's the trade-off? There's always a catch.
The trade-off is access and extremity. It's much harder to get to. The drive from Jackson involves going over Teton Pass, which is a treacherous road that closes frequently. And while the snow is amazing, it just doesn't have that terrifying expert-only steepness or the massive vertical drop that JHMR has.
Okay, alternative number 2, Big Sky, Montana.
Big Sky is just massive. Its main advantage is its sheer size. It spreads the crowds out so much more effectively than Jackson can. If you want that big mountain feel with huge vertical, but without the bottlenecks, Big Sky is a great option.
And the trade-off there?
It's also very expensive right up there with Jackson. But the logistics getting from your lodging to the lifts can be a lot simpler if you stay in their main mountain village. It's just a bit more user-friendly.
So let's put all this together. Let's create the perfect, value-optimized, one-week trip that combines the best of both worlds.
This is the recommended combo itinerary. This is how you get the most bang for your buck and the best experience.
Okay, so days 1 through 3. You ski Jackson Hole, you focus on the tram, you ski the steep stuff, you soak in that high-energy vibe, you go to the Moose.
Correct. Then day 4 is your travel day. You check out of your expensive Jackson hotel, and you drive over Teton Pass, weather permitting, to Driggs, Idaho.
And then for the rest of the week, days 5 through 7, you ski Grand Targhee and you stay in Driggs.
Exactly. And this one move has a huge financial impact. By shifting your base to the Idaho side for the second half of the trip, you will save roughly 50% on your food and lodging costs. Plus, you get a completely different, more local, more relaxed powder skiing experience.
It's brilliant. You get the bucket list intensity of Jackson, the deep powder of Targhee, and you do it in a way that's actually cost-effective.
Okay, so this is the moment of truth. Let's bring it all together in the Worth It Matrix. We're going to give you a direct verdict based on who you are.
Let's start with the minimalist traveler, the backpacker on a tight budget.
Verdict: no. It's a hard no.
Why?
Jackson is actively hostile to your budget. You will bleed cash just trying to exist. The sacrifices you'll have to make will make the trip miserable. The cost-to-fund ratio is just way off. Go to Salt Lake City or Bozeman instead. You can access incredible steep skiing there for a fraction of the price.
Okay, next up, the mid-range enthusiast. A strong skier, good budget, but not unlimited.
Verdict:
Right.
maybe. It's situational.
Why?
It is only worth it if you are a very strong, aggressive, expert-level skier who will actually use the terrain you're paying for. If you're going to spend most of your time on blue runs, that money is completely wasted. Go to Park City or Breckenridge, where your money goes further on the terrain you actually enjoy.
The family trip. Parents with kids, need ski school, need easy logistics.
Verdict: hard pass. An absolute no.
Why?
The logistics are a nightmare. Getting kids and all their gear on the bus is awful. The ski school costs a fortune. The terrain is way too intimidating for most kids. It is just too much work for the parents. It won't feel like a vacation. There are so many better family resorts.
And finally, the luxury traveler, for whom budget is not a primary concern.
Verdict: yes. 100% yes.
Why?
The entire valley is now built for you. If you can afford the Four Seasons, private guides, and heli skiing, it is, without a doubt, the single best and most rewarding ski experience in North America.
So the overall conclusion is, Jackson Hole is a bucket list trip. It's not an every-year trip. It is raw, it is beautiful, and the sources were right. It's arrogant. It does not care if you can afford it or not.
And a final practical tip: the best time to go is the first week of March. Avoid the big holidays. In early March, the snow base is super deep, the days are longer, and the temperatures are a little warmer. It's the sweet spot.
And that base camp decision is critical. Stay in Teton Village if skiing is your only priority. Stay in the town of Jackson if nightlife is your priority. But do not try to commute between them every day. You will regret it.
So to bring it all home, we talked about this tension between the raw power of the mountain and the new luxury world built around it. The source is called Jackson, raw, beautiful, and arrogant. And I think that's right, but the mountain itself, it demands something from you, and it doesn't care how much money you have. It demands your humility. It demands your respect for the cold, for the weather, for the danger, and that humility. That's the most valuable currency you'll spend there. And if you offer it, the reward you get back from that mountain is truly unmatched anywhere on Earth.
That is the deep dive on Jackson Hole. Travel safe, stay hydrated, and think fat skis.